Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation with the founders of Ginnys Planet. The young social enterprise has completed 2 years, and we hope to get some honest insights from Shweta and Jamal. I'm Shine from Ginnys Planet, and earlier I used to be a journalist with one of India's premier business newspapers. Both Shweta and Jamal are social work professionals with nearly 2 decades of experience in the field. She has worked and is an expert on disability, empathy, and diversity. And he has worked with both national and international organizations on issues including public health, livelihoods, and emergency response systems. So, Shweta and Jamal, let's start at the very beginning. What made you leave your jobs that you hate and launch your
Right. So, hi everyone. Welcome to this conversation. We're trying to be very honest here, and of course, we don't have the answers planned already, so everything will be here. Jamal, do you want to take this up first?
ओके मे भी शायद हमने सोचा हो आज कुछ तूफानी करते हैं जोक्स अपार्ट हाँ कुछ ऐसे पर्सनल और प्रोफेशनल दोनों ही कुछ ऐसे रहे हालात कि हमें लगा कि वी शुड स्टार्ट आवर ओन वेंचर वी बीन थिंकिंग दिस फ्रॉम अ लॉन्ग टाइम लेकिन कोई एक प्रेसिपिटेटिंग फैक्टर शायद काफ़ी टाइम तक नहीं आया and then when our child was born then we have started thinking more seriously about this that we should start something of our own, and then I think there we goes. Shweta, would you like to add?
Yes. So of course, a huge trigger was birth of our son, who's 5 now, and so I've being from the disability and mental health rights sector. Obviously, I was very keen on taking work forward in this area. And when our son was born with multiple conditions, then this need came in that okay, we've been working with adults. So like I've been largely working on training adults in the perspectives, and but who's training children? Because when our son goes to school and interacts with other people, his interaction with the outer world starts very early, and there is nobody training children on issues of diversity, disability, empathy, the way we think, things need to be simplified. And that's why we thought, if not us, then who? Like, can we wait for somebody else to do this or do it ourselves? And coming to the salaried thing, so I wasn't really salaried for quite some time. And I do consultancy work. I used to do that a lot. Now, obviously, drastically reduced. But the fact that our son required so many surgeries also meant that that we would not be in full-time jobs, both of us, because whenever any surgery would come in, we would have to take a few weeks break and then follow up visits. So it wasn't going to be possible for us to do that in a salaried job. I mean, caregivers are not really at this moment as well, not really supported by the organized sector in this manner, that would give us that freedom. So then this was an obvious choice. We had to do this, and also the fact that I was anyway not in a salaried job, that I was going to miss that, like that this is going to be problematic. Yeah.
Also, I think it is very difficult to manage two things. If you are in a job and you want to do something like this social enterprise, so it is very difficult. So you have to be investing in full time. Otherwise, it is not possible.
Then how did you fund yourselves when you just started the startup, as in Ginnys Planet?
So maybe I can do this. So because this is something that we had to do, like had to was the thing. But then obviously savings from our personal accounts came in first. So my PPF account, I still keep bringing money that from there to my savings account, also because of the lockdown period. But yeah, at the beginning as well, that's where the small chunk of money came in to at least start off the social enterprise bit. And we also launched a crowdfunding campaign at that point of time. We'd not even registered, but we knew that we are going ahead. So when we started crowdfunding, a lot of support from our network came in. A lot of our school friends, college friends, work friends, everybody came in and contributed their thing. So that also helped us. I mean, initially, I would say money was not a problem. But as a startup, obviously there are so many other things to deal with. So initial part of funding was actually not a challenge for us.
Okay, great to hear that. So, coming to the roles between the two of you, are they, because both of you are co-founders, but are they clearly divided, and what are they?
Okay. Ideally speaking, it is clearly divided, but practically there are a lot of gray areas. Um, ideally speaking, I'll be. I mean, initially, what we thought is I'll be more into management part. I'll be looking after operations, defining the policies and other things, managing HR, and her role, because she is more into trainings and disability empathy is the core area where she's working. So most of the trainings and planning are like her part. But of course, there are many blur things in between where we both sometimes debate or disagree.
I'll add more to this. So yeah, so if you look at the roles, they are obviously clearly divided. I am the CEO and he's director of operations, which means when it comes to operations, things like so when people are being recruited in different positions, even as interns, so ensuring that they get their letters, they get to know our policies, that all the policies are in place. Things like, so all the logistics bit, when we get orders, we have to raise invoices, shipping has to be done. So all that is part of operations, and that's managed entirely by Jamal. Our accounting team also works in direct coordination with Jamal. When we started initially, I was doing a lot of this stuff as well, because but then obviously I soon realized it's not possible to do everything on his own. So we do need to, even clarify this further. So which is why director of operations and CEO, work obviously got divided. Where Jamal is talking about disagreements, that's because of probably also of the kind of person that I am. So let's say today an idea came to me and I thought this is worth implementing, So I'm going to go ahead, talk to the team and launch it. And Jamal is going to get to know like 2 days later and he's going to look at me and say, we should have at least discussed this, So sometimes that happens. Yeah, the disagreements, because I'm in hurry. Like I'm in hurry to launch. I can't wait for a week only planning, because as startups, yeah, planning is good, definitely good, but when you are like raring to go, then yeah, it's better for me to launch and fail rather than just go on planning. So yeah.
Yeah, and whenever we fail, then I remind her, look, मैंने बोला था उस दिन.
I'm happy to accept. I acknowledge, like I think failure is a part of being a startup life. So in any case, I've become comfortable with that.
So, quickly, the do's and don'ts of working together before we move to the next question.
Not really. I mean,
Do's and don'ts.
yeah, it's not really do's and don'ts. Probably initially we had more disagreements. now, now since we've been working together, before this enterprise, we never have worked together. So she has her own area, and I have been into different area.
And also different styles.
Yeah, work style is also very different. So initially we had I mean, on a lot of things we have disagreements, but now slowly um, rules, or you can say do's and don'ts, are coming in. But again, I would say it's very blurry. It's not to the point that I should be doing this and I should not be doing this.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think that's how, for all the startups out there, the co-founders, I mean, as co-founders, we do need to give each other time to settle down with each other's style and way of working. And then, like firming those blurry lines. But yeah, like in the initial part, it's all definitely chaos is there. And as co-founders, we're also used to that chaos, because what else is going to happen like initially? If everything is streamlined, then it's not really, I don't know, it's not really a startup if you know everything in advance.
In
Yeah.
fact, yeah. In fact, that was the other question that you mentioned. Funding was taken care of initially because of your good financial planning to begin with. But what were the things that you were not expecting then? So you said that that was not a surprise, but there were other surprises. So tell us about when in 2019 it was launched, Guinness Planet. What were the surprises that you did not expect? As in, what were the things that you did not expect?
So I'll start sharing and then you can add on.
Yeah, I'm waiting for this long list. I don't know what's coming up.
So when we begin, honestly speaking, I was not sure that crowdfunding will work, but it worked. So definitely, I mean, मुझे नहीं लग रहा था कि कर पाएंगे, लेकिन लोगों ने कंट्रीब्यूट किया और अब तक करते आ रहे हैं. सो मेरे लिए सरप्राइज था इनिशियली.
Anything else you want to add, Shweta?
Well, so that bit, I mean, it was a shock and surprise for him, but I don't know, but I had faith in the network that we have, like we've been in this sector for like almost 2 decades, so um, like it was impossible that our network would not come in. Like, why not? Because we've been there, we have these relationships, and people did have faith in us. I would hope so. So obviously I was hoping that would help. But the other things that happened was, I think they were just plain failures and learnings, that I would say were surprising. So, for example, we did everything the way we learned in SSE India fellowship, So, but obviously, learning also takes place in chunks, So, obviously, the first shock was that, all right, we had a team and we had a product and we had launched it and people were not buying it. The most common problem that I think we've discussed internally in the team as well, that we did not have a marketing strategy in place at that point of time. And just having social media handles is not really a marketing strategy, So we also learned that the hard way, that you need to have some strategy. And of course, you may not have a fixed strategy in advance, but you have to keep something in mind so that you can, see what works and what does not work. Um, the other surprises, were just in form of, I think, the partnerships that emerged. So some strong partnerships have emerged in the course of time. And when I say partnerships, it's like, where there is exchange of space and workshops and information openly, rather than worrying about competition. So that has happened. But other thing that surprised us was also and probably that was the learning, the fact that, so you can't have partnerships only based on faith, because there were 2 3 spaces, and even now, like, where you got into that partnership because of faith, but actually
Backfired.
it just backfired, it failed, and we were just left um, with just surprising details about why people are withdrawing from the partnership, or why they don't want to do what we are expecting them to do, in spite of open communication from our side. So now, of course, we do communication even more specifically. Like, now we try and not leave too many fuzzy areas so that people are not confused about what's happening in this partnership. So yeah, some of these surprises definitely, but I would say in form of learning, sometimes in form of faith, sometimes just pleasant surprises with support of our network.
Also, I think obvious surprise was COVID situation, because
Sure.
it changed everything for us. I mean, uh, in a way, good also because a lot of online workshops started after that. But yes, it was shocking, and for a month we were like thinking what to do now.
Reeling under it. And you have created the brand ambassador for Guinness Planet, the girl who's Guinea. So you imbued specific traits in Guinea. Why did you pick those traits? And did you have second thoughts about picking, say, the radial club hand, which is a feature? So what made you decide that?
So we knew that Guinea had to be a doll with disability. Okay, so that part was definitely confirmed. But as to what features would she have, that kept evolving. So the first, you know, thing was about deciding whether it was going to be a boy or a girl. So that was one big confusion. I did not want Ginny to have any like pre-announced gender, but then also realized that it was probably not going to work because we kept discussing, also discussed with some of our mentors, and so finally Ginny became a girl. And then it was about okay, when we're saying disability, what are we talking about in terms of disability? Um, so then rather than going into any like usually talked about disability, so for example, Guinea could have been a wheelchair user, she could have been somebody else as well, but then we felt, and especially I felt, that radial club hand is what we know closely, because our son has it. So why not keep it that? Because there we are sure, like we are sure when somebody thinks about Guinea as a character in terms of doing things, her life experiences, the kind of radial club hand that Guinea has, we would be very sure as to what's happening here. The kind of research that needs to go into building a character, even, that's huge. So we thought, okay, let's give radial club hand as one of the things. And then specs came in. Because I think when I asked Jamal to draw Guinea, he added specs to it. So that's how specs came in. Yeah. So that's how Guinea kept evolving, And then finally, what happened? So this is the latest thing, So this time when we said, okay, Guinea's turning 2, and let's join, let's celebrate. People started wishing Guinea happy birthday. So we're like, okay, all right. So let Guinea's birthday be also 28 June then, like. So some things we decide, but something also evolve, based on how people are also adding to the story. So it's not that we pre-decide everything. Something also evolves.
So I wanted to know that given that it is a social cause that is at the center of Guinness Planet, and which is also a personally lived experience for both of you. So do you get disillusioned sometimes because the task at hand of making everything inclusive, making people believe in diversity, that's a very tall task for everyone. So do you get disillusioned at times?
I would say yes, of course. Because there are always failures, and there are always efforts which are not as successful as we would, expect them to be. But then we also keep learning, So obviously, one thing that we've learned in these 2 years is, even if we have a very good vision, or people think that we are doing like a good cause. It does not mean that that will convert into their engagement with the cause, because as an idea, this can sound nice to anybody, but whether they would engage with you has various factors. And especially in our case, I think because we were targeting, and we are targeting, children and parents. And for parents also, it's hard life. I mean, like, especially the lockdown has been so hard for parents and children as well, So and even before that, so parents anyway are such preoccupied lot with so many things going on in their life, that engaging with an initiative like Guinness Planet, even if they want to, there's just too much happening, I think, for them to focus, and for us to, like, come out of that crowd and say, we are here, why don't you engage? It's still not easy, So yeah, so sometimes we see barriers. We also see, okay, this should have been taken up. And sometimes it's just been plain assumption that people carry, that oh, empathy, matlab, ये तो हमें पता है, हम सिखा देंगे. या disability, हमें तो basics मालूम है, हम सिखा देंगे, which is fine. I mean, in the end, we're not telling parents that you don't know anything, because in fact, we are actually saying that we can join you in building your capacity as well to respond to certain questions if you think that you need more inputs. So we're also trying to, in that sense, partner with parents as well in this whole journey. The other thing is about, so we are a social enterprise, but we're not a not-for-profit. We're registered as a private limited company. So that creates confusions in many people's mind, because they think if we're talking about diversity and disability, we should be a service provider, and we should be a not-for-profit. So why are we charging for it? But a social enterprise cannot run if you don't earn revenues. So supporting the cause by earning revenue, that's our model, and it's been hard to, yeah, keep bringing revenue in, of course. But revenue does come in. It's not that we don't have revenue, but yeah, it's a hard field to be in.
Okay, and what has, I mean, initial funding we already know of, but since then, in the last 2 years, how has the funding journey been? I mean, what did you expect what you saw, or was it something completely unexpected?
Um, so far, we don't have a regular stream of revenues, so it's always up and down. It went really down when the lockdown started, and then it started picking up slowly. So there are lots of ups and downs in it. Um, that is there.
Um, okay, so obviously there have been chunks when there has been no revenue as well, and then there has been a certain steady flow. But the steady flow is not like equal amount of revenue, definitely. So that challenge has been there. Um,
And what about mentors? Have you guys had mentors along the way? Because you have been in the social field, so there would be mentors from your previous work experiences and studying. But what about now? Have you come across mentors?
So as far as I am concerned, I mean, I've always had mentors. I think that's my good luck. So even as a professional, I had mentor, my previous boss, and so I mean, there's so many things that I've like learned across the way. I did not know that I was learning them till I actually started applying them when I had my own organization. And in last 2 years, I really thought that is like, oh right, that used to happen. Okay, yeah, that was being said at that point of time. Yes, that's so relevant, when you run an organization. So in many times, I would say some kind of learning happened there. And then of course, as part of our fellowships, we're also allocated mentors. So my first mentor in the SSE India fellowship was Gunjan. Then in Shakti The Empathy Project, my mentor was Sharu. And each of them came with very specific inputs. Like, and it was important, I think, for mentors to be there, because otherwise, who would give you time to listen to you, to be a sounding board, to clarify your doubts? I think because it's a very lonely field, it makes sense to have a mentor who, I mean, so I'm the kind of person who would not probably follow everything by the book. I would discuss here and then take my own call as to what needs to be done. And all my mentors have been fairly supportive of that style of being the mentee, I would say. Yeah.
In my case, I'm Arithra Leadership Fellow. It was organized by IIM Bangalore. From there, I have a mentor, Anita, and she helped in networking, of course. So that way it helped.
Okay, and what has been for each of you? What has been the most proud moment in these two so far in these 2 years? Both of you, can you pick a moment?
Actually, lots of lots of small moments which we felt proud. I was telling a few days back to Shweta that whenever somebody buys Ginny doll, I feel good. Compared to any other product, if somebody buys Ginny doll, I especially feels good. So I can say it's a proud moment whenever somebody buys Ginny doll.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me again, like many like moments of pride. Especially like these days, what happens is people look at our social media and say it's running really well, and I will say, yeah, there is a team working behind it, So it's like a matter of pride that we've been able to come this far, where I don't have to worry about okay what to post today, because there is a team working on it, and there's so many things that we can do. Like sometimes people keep telling us, that we see so much happening on Guinness Planet, and you kept at it even when, the worst phase of, lockdown was on, or the worst phase of COVID was on. And I think it's important. Therefore, that's connected with a sense of pride, but also the fact that all of us needs team. We need teams to support us, to be there, to take the vision forward. And I think that's a matter of pride for us, that we've been able to find people. Um, um, so like Pallavi, definitely, and all the mom interns these days, including you, Anthony, who believe in what we're doing. It's very important for us to have people like that.
Also, there were times when Guinness Planet was covered by the media. Live Mint covered us. We were among the 50 social enterprises by Times Next. So those were the moments which we felt good about.
Yeah, but I think overall the fact that some people stay with us in our journey, including our partners, including people like Palumi, Rajashi, who really believe in what we do, and they give their time, effort, energy. There's a lot of brainstorming discussion that takes place with them to take the work forward. So they just so like while we say we are the co-founders of Guinness Planet, Guinness Planet is not moving only because of us. It's because of so many people who contribute.
And what are the other plans for expansion of Guinness Planet going forward? Where do you see Guinness Planet?
Lot of things actually. Would you like to start?
Yeah, so like since we began, I think my whole idea has been in the line of, okay, there has to be a publications wing and there has to be a training wing, and then we also have to get into animation and stuff. So there are like lots of things that we want to get into, but eventually, people, I believe that we need to become those people or organization that people, when they think of diversity, empathy in simple language, they think of us. That like we are the people who would simplify and trigger conversations on these issues and then bring it down to the level of a 4 or 5 year old as well. So in terms of how people should look at us and think about us, this is what we want to be in people's mind. It's like all these, like everybody should be able to understand what we say. When we're trying to simplify it.
And some of that we are going to see in the birthday month as well. New plans, new products coming up, right? So, Shweta, can you tell us what all do you have planned for the birthday month of June for Guinness Planet, and including today's launch as well? Please tell us a bit.
Right. So obviously, a lot has already happened. Our marketing team had its own webinar. Then Gunjan Sharma came in with a 1 minute videos on gender and sexuality for children. I mean, the issues of children, but in such simplified manner. Then a series of workshops that we launched for stories. So we still have two more sessions of storytelling coming up if you want to book. And of course, the dream project that I had of having a series of master classes for storytellers who work with children. Because that's been something that we've been wanting to do. And the workshop series start tomorrow. So if somebody wants to still come in, please do, because we do keep the spots limited. So there won't be not more than 10 to 12 participants. So definitely that. And today, yes, we are launching handmade bookmarks. Because we ran a poll and people said that's what they want us to launch this month. So only for this month, handmade bookmarks made specially by an artist, Anshu, who's based in Jaipur, then Ruxar, who's based in Delhi, and Jamal and me, we've also worked. So again, because handmade bookmarks require a lot of hard work, so obviously it's very limited stock, but yeah, launching today, already available.
Yeah, and each of them have been painted by the artists themselves, like painstakingly, produced. So also there is a birthday combo of products which includes Ginny Doll as well as the storybooks and
Yeah.
pencil tops.
Yeah.
So great. And we have come to the end of this Q&A session. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Please don't forget that it is still a birthday month and we will have lots more coming up as well. Kindly follow us on our social handles and see you soon. Thank you, Shweta and Jamal, for joining us and with your honest insights for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sayantani.
Thanks, Shanti, and everybody else who joined in.